Hi there, welcome tonight to Nighttime Line Talks. Bernie Sanders is out of the political race. So the final fight is between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is moderating and prioritizing his declarations on these times of the pandemic. I prefer wait till the quarantine is over and we will talk most about this regard. But what is important across the political lines on US is understand that China needs to come back on track the regular and close relationship with Donald Trump in the commercial side if they like to keep going on business. Number one. Number two, the European community gave a very hard lesson to Italy. Italy, that is the biggest member of this community, they don't help them. Germany has a wonderful pharmaceutical line that can support the problems of Italy on this pandemic, and they do not give a hand. They receive help from Cuba, from Canada, from other countries, except countries on the European community. And it's evident. Everybody is afraid about what's happening. This pandemic is surrounded by uncertainty, political, medical, and business uncertainty. Nobody knows what's next. And for example, if the government of the United States is taking actions to reduce the number of people who died with this pandemic, the cost is very high. Obviously, a life have no price. As President Trump says, is most important save lives, and later we will see about the money. And I completely agree with him. But for example, today I was reading couple stories that makes me think a lot of the World Health Organization. President Trump reduced the budget assigned every year above $100 million. He drops to the half the budget to this organization because he considers that this organization do not provide assertive information on time to take actions on COVID-19. It's just a point of view of the president, but the director of the World Health Organization is answering to the president declaration telling that if he doesn't want many body bags, in New York and the most affected cities, they are putting the cadavers, the bodies in plastic bags to place later, I don't know where, Ivana. I don't know what they are doing, and I don't like to confuse the situation most. But the director of the World Health Organization is responding to President Trump. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, it's hard to pronounce his name. told to reporters lengthy answer when they asked about President Trump criticism. And a day earlier, and he says in a short message that he wants to wait till the quarantine is over. And he still replies that this virus is dangerous. I agree with both points of view because the United States wasn't informed on time. But Peter Navarro, Secretary of Commerce of the White House, sent a memo on January 29 to President Trump advising that a big pandemic was coming on. But the White House don't have still enough information from the Center of Disease Control, the World Health Organization, and they don't apply measures to fight this situation. And many situations that are becoming a conversion of, on every point of view over this trouble is that the stock market, everybody knows, drops in a historic rates. But there are pharmaceutical business, there are medical equipment business, there are several fields where the stock market is raising and giving new opportunities to raise business. Real estate is dropping now, but many investors are buying cheap properties because they know when everything come back on track, they can sell it more expensive and they can make more business. The other business that is raising is technology, applications that can be uh, helping developing foods, developing interactive supermarkets. People don't have to talk with clerks anymore. They receive from the service, automated service from robots, um, pre-cooked food, everything. And they don't have to take the credit card or the debit card from the wallet. Everything is pay off and let's go. Or automated delivery in your house. No risk because everything is sealed and guarantee the products have enough protection and they are not exposed to the coronavirus. So everybody is waiting and telling those business are the future because the future of people after this pandemic is that the world has been changed. Many countries are closing their borders. Even in the United States of America, Texan government is checking the state lines with the state patrol, every car coming from other states, and they supervise the body temperature. They check what's going on and where they are going and where they are coming from. Everything, everything is checked by the authorities. So there is a demographic challenge. Number one, for the record number of people who is passing away is more than the victims of September 11. And it's chilly to tell about that. Knock on wood. Number two, many people is moving from one state to other, considering that New York is very risky on these times, like a place to live and a place to raise a family. Hard too. Why? Because New York is the epicenter of fashion, Wall Street, television business, and many other business that consolidate and encapsulate their headquarters in New York. So let's go to see if this situation come back on track and don't affect too many people, too many business, too many companies. And I hope if United States of America come back on track after the First and Second World War, the Korea War, Vietnam War, we can come back successful after this pandemic. Taxpayers on this country are satisfied with the policies from the White House, you know, reimbursing money, expanding the deadlines for taxpayers, and medium and small business administration is giving loans to companies to keep paying salaries, to keep operating on the middle level if it's possible. But at this point, 6 million jobs are lost, and many companies are closing their doors. I am more than worried. And I don't like to scare you, but one of my points I was disclosing with my editorial partner of my show in Spanish, Charlas de la Noche, Palabras con Imagen, Irreverente, with Plácido Garza, is that US is the source of basic income in many countries. The money that all the Latin American workers, immigrant workers, not only from Latin America, also from Europe, from Russia, from many countries, they want their part of their money to their native countries. And native countries live of that money. We have the case of El Salvador, Colombia, Honduras, Costa Rica in part, but they have a big issue with the tourism. They still can survive. But Mexico, now the tourism is dropped and nobody's traveling anymore. Mexico has, on this money from the immigrants, the second source of income that becomes the most important part of the economy. And many people has no idea how the current administration is going to cover that. Is serious. Is serious. Even if both countries work together on the issues, it's going to take a long time to come back on many situations, become normal and reactivate part of both economies, because we were analyzing that Mexican economy depends on big part of the United States economy. And if the economy of the United States is affected, it's a domino effect all over the world. Many countries are going to suffer from this situation. Not only Mexico, not only United States, also the European community, even China is going to be the most affected country. China believes that they have power because they have big part of the bonds of the American economy. And they have a lot of dollars and they have a lot of business with USA. But right now, after 1 month, they are closed for business. They are feeling the impact and they are feeling the effects. President Trump stopped the negotiations with China, and China turned around and called Brazil and say, Bolsonaro, I need beans, I need corn, I need pork meat, And Bolsonaro says, yes, I send you right away. But no way. They find out they have a lot of quality problems. They are not receiving the meat and the products in good shape. They are not healthy. They have a lot of problems on the deadline deliveries, and they have a lot of problems on the quality control. So China is experiencing a problem of food supply, a big problem because it's not easy to feed 1 million and 1 billion people. It's a lot of people, and they are growing. So United States is still on time to negotiate. And China tried to sell those bonds they have from the American government, but they have no customer. The only customer to buy those bonds is the American government. And China, as the main consumer of oil, food, and many products, needs to prioritize their commercial relationship with their former partners. And the world is learning a lesson from China, a business trust lesson, because they find out that it's not easy to trust on Chinese. Honestly, they delay information about the pandemic. They don't like to tell the world, and they were allowing people live from the zone zero, the place where they have the pandemic, travel all over the world, expanding the virus. Very serious. Number two, they declined to share information with the Center for Disease Control of USA, organization that controls virus and have strategies to go all over the world and stop pandemics. They don't inform on time. Now many people is blaming President Trump as usual of everything. I don't know, but living here in America is tired to listen all the time that there is trouble. President Trump is responsible for that problem. Oh, another problem. Oh, President Trump is responsible. And Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi has not another argument. Blaming Trump is their favorite target, when themselves can also blame others because they manage the intelligence reports. And I don't know what happened with Marco Rubio. Senator Marco Rubio is in the Commission of Intelligence and receive every day first-hand information. Why not? He didn't alert on time President Trump. I'm just questioning situations that are becoming out of their hands. And everybody in America is scared. Many people is isolated and skipping responsibilities. But Donald Trump is not skipping the responsibility to come every day, once, twice, or three times a day, and provide information to the Americans and say, hey, here is what's going on. And as he says, he's doing to avoid more problems, save as most people he can. I trust. I believe I trust. Even many people criticize Donald Trump, but let him finish the job because it's not easy. It's very easy criticize and say, hey, oh, he's wrong. He's big mouth and talking this. No, no, it's not easy. No, not everyone wants to be on his shoes. Be president of the United States on a times of a worldwide pandemic is not easy. Is something else that we have to face. Not every single president face a situation like this. In the past, United States had pandemics. Yes, but population was smaller. People don't travel too much. Was easier to control and put the sanitary control around cities, hospitals, wherever. Right now, we are very crowded. We have very crowded cities. Even police departments are in trouble to control people. And talking about it, there are people who likes to attend religious services this coming Sunday. And many people is scared because they are asking them respect the isolation of the quarantine. But many of them don't like to do that. They like to go to church. And many pastors, priests, and leaders of the religious organizations are already asking, please don't come to church. That is not helping to resolve the problem. Let's go to see what happens, because every day is something new on this pandemic. Every day more people dead. And it's time to do a deep introspection of ourselves, because as I was telling you, big part of the responsibility don't belong to Donald Trump or to the police departments or to politicians. It's ours. That responsibility to become at home, to don't spread the virus, to use the mouth covers, use gloves. And let's go to see. Lord bless everyone. And something curious is happening, not only on the social networks. There is a famous show in American TV on NBC called Jeopardy. Jeopardy is a contest of games and questions and answers, but on a new Jeopardy episode that was aired last Tuesday, but was taped months ago, a clue seemed foretell the coronavirus crisis. Natalie Miller of Yale picked an 800 health and medicine question. Clue that reads, from a Greek word for people, it describes a disease that affects many people at one time. What is a pandemic? Miller responded, we all accept that. Host Alex Trebek says, Miller, a sophomore, won the college championship round with $24,000 to advance to semifinals. And here we have the answer of that. Let me reproduce to you because it's very interesting. Let me see if we can do the audio. Oh, I believe it is gone. Hmm. We don't have the audio. Health and Medicine 800. From a Greek word for people, it describes a disease that affects many people at one time. Nathaniel, what is a pandemic? We'll accept that. Imagine answer a question that is advising the future of what's going on without having an idea that a situation is coming on. This student not only won, he was giving a very assertive word. And the show has a lot of polemic comments on the social networks becomes a big common trending topic everybody's talking about. But there are situations that nobody knows where are coming from, but this is not the only one. Media is showing up in other parts of the world before this situation start and become a huge worldwide situation. Some people was talking about that. For example, Chinese are building a railroad line on the Silk Route. Many merchants did between Europe and China. And that railroad works are crossing many countries that are exchanging a lot of products, but those workers that live in mobile homes and they are from many countries that they are crossing with this project, they have stations, sanitary stations preparing how to protect for a pandemic. It's evident that China has a lot of experience with pandemics and other problems because they suffered in the past. They in Japan and many Asian countries is common to see people with the mouth covers to protect them from what they are breathing, what they are taking in or inhaling, wherever you want to say. But what is not clear is how the largest project that Chinese government is managing between China and Europe, that large train was already taking measures to don't stop. This construction is not stopped. Everybody is working on it. And even China has the largest airport terminal in the world, majestic, big, but is operating on 1/4 of their capacity. Why? Because they don't have tourism. They don't have businessmen going on and back to close deals on that country. And they are desperate. China is recognizing that they are the first country where this pandemic starts as a main source of infection, but they like to be also the country that likes to stop it, to come back on business and say to the world, hey, we must stop everywhere this infection and we must come back to work producing products, services, and establishing the commercial relationship that they love to do it. But if they don't cooperate with the strategic information on this regard, many governments are not going to trust on them anymore about what is happening. And that's evident. So pay attention. China is communist for the poor people and is capitalist for politicians and businessmen. But if they don't open their administration in regard of the health control, in regard of many things, other countries will not trust to help them and to do business with them anymore. And United States is turning their eyes to India. India is an excellent source. People there is thirsty to work and they have resources, they have materials. Mexico is the other country that is thirsty to work and do business with United States. So China believes that they are the only ones who can manufacture 3 million pieces in one day. Yes, at the beginning could be hard for other countries, but it's not impossible. Mexico, India, many countries in the world can become a new partners in business for United States, Europe, and other countries, and let Chinese isolate themselves on their own problems, on their daily business. Thank you and have a good night.